Welcome to the video on processor in loop simulation with the Renesas RA microcontroller. In Simulink, PIL simulation can easily be performed using the SIL or PIL Manager app, which can be found under the verification, validation and testing. Once you click on the SIL or PIL Manager, a new tab appears for SIL or PIL, where you have options to run the normal simulation, SIL or PIL simulation, and automated verification to compare the results of normal simulation and SIL or PIL. Also, there are two ways to perform PIL simulation. Top model PIL, where the entire Simulink model is executed on the Renesas RA controller, ideal for full system verification, and the model block PIL, where only selected subsystem run on the controller, allowing focused testing of critical component. For more information of this app, you can refer to the documentation of SIL or PIL Manager. Leveraging this feature in the Simulink, let's now see how to perform the top model and model block PIL testing for the Renesas RA62 controller. First, let's look into the hardware setup. I have the RA62 controller and let's zoom in and focus on the SCI connector. Here is the pinout of the SCI connector and I have the FTDI chip and here is its pinout. Cross connect the both TX and FTDI RX pin and vice versa. Connect the ground pins together. Use USB cables to power both the controller board as well as the FTDI. With the hardware now set up, let's delve into the PIL simulation of top model. To perform a PIL simulation for your Simulink model, start by opening the SIL or PIL Manager app and selecting the automated verification option with the top model as the system under test. Set the simulation mode to normal and the SIL or PIL mode to processor in loop. Next, configure the model for your controller by opening the configuration parameters and selecting the hardware implementation tab. Choose the appropriate hardware board. In our case, it's RA6 based board and RA62 device series. Expand the target hardware resources. Here is the placeholder to include the XML file generated from the RA Smart Configurator, which is used to configure peripherals. For this demo, we just need to set up the communication. So, let's quickly configure the UART in RA Smart Configurator. For that, you can either create a new RASC project by clicking on Create or locate an existing project if you already have one by clicking on the Browse. For this example, let's create a new project and launch it to view the settings. By default, the UART stack is added in the RA Smart Configurator project with the stack name RACIB UART, channel 9, and pins PD05 and PD06 corresponding to the TX and RX pins of the controller. If the project is not created from Simulink, user needs to manually configure all these settings as they are required to define communication between the controller and the FTDI module. Once configured, return back to the configuration parameters in Simulink and ensure to enter the same stack name, channel number under the connectivity tab of the hardware implementation. The COM port used for communication between FTDI and host computer can be found under the Windows Device Manager. Enter the same COM port number here as well. Click on Apply and OK. Finally, run the automated test in the SIL or PIL tab, where the normal simulation is followed by the PIL simulation. Once the simulations are complete, codes are generated and click on Compare Runs to see the results and differences between the simulations. Having seen about the top model PIL simulation, now let's see how the model block PIL works. To perform a model block PIL simulation for your Simulink model, begin by opening the SIL or PIL Manager app and selecting the automated verification options with the model block in SIL or PIL mode as the system under test. Next, right-click on one of the model reference blocks, set the simulation mode to processor in loop, and configure the code interface to reference model. For the other model reference block, set the simulation mode to normal. Now, dive into the referenced model. Configure the model for your controller by opening the configuration parameters. Select the hardware implementation tab. And as we did before for top model, select the hardware board and device series and browse to locate the configuration.xml file that we created during the top model PIL simulation. Now, go to the connectivity tab and ensure to mention the same stack name and channel number as in the RA Smart Configurator. Finally, Specify the COM port. With all these configurations done, click on OK. Now, return to the main model and perform a quick update by pressing Ctrl D to apply the changes made in the reference model. Enable task profiling under the time profiling in the settings. Proceed to run the verification. And once completed, codes are generated and click on Compare Runs to see the results and differences between the simulation. Finally, review the profiling report for information on execution time and self time for each function. Hope this video provides a clear instruction on how to perform a PIL simulation on RA62 controller, and thanks for watching this video.